Good morning, guys. Welcome back to the channel. This is going to be essentially part 2 to my tubular rear end. So I've made a few changes mentally since the last video. So after doing some more speaking and thinking and price shopping, since the last video with people that have done this before and people that are further along in their drifting and motorsports career than I am, I've decided to go ahead and just jump into doing a rear mount radiator and a fuel cell right off the rip, which I had mentioned. I tried to cut it out because when I edited the last video, I was already, a few days after I changed my mind. But yeah, so because of basically my two paths are either save money now or add time and effort later with the rear end stuff for the rear mount radiator and the fuel system. So the only reason I didn't really want to do a fuel system is because it intimidates me, because I don't have any experience with it outside of mounting a fuel cell. But at the end of the day, thankfully, DJ, my partner here, is very knowledgeable on that, and I've got lots of good automotive enthusiast friends who happen to be well versed in that stuff as well that have offered to help when that time comes. And then as for the radiator stuff, for me, it was more of just a cheapness thing. I was wanting to cheap out because my mentality is my car works. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. But I do understand the risk that comes along with tandem driving and competitive drifting and motorsports in general, but especially drifting. You go out each lap when you're driving with people with the thought in the back of your head, or with the acknowledgement that somebody could spin, something could happen, and you could, collide. And that's all fine and dandy, but my thought process behind that is, as you can see, thankfully these front ends just bolt together, so they're easy to repair, if something happened. But the issue is with drifting, ideally the goal is to keep everything destructible that you need to operate within the frame rails. Now in this case, the radiator obviously sits up here, but the bigger issue is that these cars have the clutch fan assembly and the tolerance is very tight. So people complain that these cars tend to have cooling issues because they don't change their engine mounts, their motor rocks a little bit, and then their clutch fan nicks the shroud. It explodes, which in turn causes catastrophic failure of your hoses, your reservoir, your radiator, dents the hood. I don't want to deal with that. So basically my thought process is if I put it in the back, that takes it out of harm's way up here. So you may be already wondering, if you haven't already experienced this or done it or anything like that, you're saying, how do you get airflow to the radiator if it's in the trunk? Now that's where the fun stuff comes in, because that's where we learn about ducting. Now I already have some experience in that, not that I'm some sort of chemical engineer that understands air and flow and all that, but it's a pretty simple concept, and I learned a lot about it when I was working for Hasport, when Brian Gillespie from VTech Academy taught me basically about ducting when I was having overheating issues with my K-swap and my Integra when I first did it, because essentially air takes the path of least resistance. So in this case, if you ever look at how the air moves over a car, it comes over the roof line, flows down the back, and these cars happen to have, a very good flowing roof line here. Now, in this case, let me show you, let me turn you here. Basically the radiator is going to be down here. We'll get to that later as we need to, but it'll be in the trunk, angled down slightly wherever I can fit it. This rear shelf is just going to get cut out, which means the back glass is going bye-bye. We are going to run Lexan. Thankfully, Condor Speed Shop, they offer a Lexan rear window. So since I'm buying their side windows, I may as well buy the rear as well. And essentially all we got to do is just cut a big old chunk of metal out of this rear deck lid. Now, following Formula Drift regulation standards, or rulebook standards, we cannot cut into the main structure here like this lip line where the glass goes. But all of this extra webbing up here, we can take all that out. So I will essentially just be doing that, and you build some ducting, and then you also use some big old spall fans. And then there's gonna be some more cooling stuff that we'll have to go over, but I've done some research, and when that time comes and we're ready to plummet, that's gonna be a while, but I'll be able to start building around it. It'll work, and I'm gonna do water pipes under the car, keep it simple, keep it clean, keep it functional. But yeah, that's a whole other thing for later on when we got some more money and we're a bit further along. So let's get into what we're finishing up today, and that is the rear. Now forgive me, I really do apologize for rambling so much, but I just know that while I was doing some research, there's a lot of information on this, but a lot of it's really poorly done. So I'm trying to fit as much information as I can while trying to get the workload in without boring you guys. So let me show you what I've done here. So off camera, because like I mentioned in the last video, I've been doing some stuff for social media, trying to build up my Instagram and TikTok following a little bit more. So I've started filming the shorter content on there because honestly it's a little easier to set up my phone, let Instagram edit it for me with their little magic overlay thing, and then post it. So since the last video, all I've done is I built the rear crash beam down here. That is looking pretty nice. You know, it's nothing crazy, just did 1-inch tubing with the bolt-on plates. That's fully removable. This is just to help hold the bumper support. I welded on the tab ears for the side bash bars. Those are all welded in now. I still have to drill the bash bars for their bolts and get some hardware, but that's, you know, super easy. I just haven't done that yet. And then I've started to reinforce to the shock towers. So this is what I was working on yesterday. I had a customer car I was servicing, they picked it up. So I kind of had some time to kill. I was itching to work on this thing. I'm trying to put a few minutes a day into it if I can. So I bent this up. This was actually just scrap. This was 2 door bars that or a door bar with a double bend that I had laying around that I just chopped up and was like, oh, that looks like it'll fit nicely. So perks of being a hoarder. So this is a 50-degree bend, and I basically just made it fit. I put in those plates to the shock tower because the issue that I was having is even just moving this thing around, it was flexing my frame rails up here because it needed to be triangulated. So that's exactly what that does, and I wanted that bend. I could have just probably ran an angle too, but that would have just looked a little bit worse. But also this bend allowed me to kind of rotate it and lean it over a little bit. So what we're doing today, well right now, is I'm trying to match it over here. Now, I tried doing it yesterday and I goofed up the cut. I got mixed up because I'm having to hand cut all this and I just cut it backwards. So basically I would have just lost my material because I'm trying to do my due diligence and make this all symmetrical, or at least as close to it as I can. So yeah, that's what I'm gonna do here. Basically just gonna start trimming this away and make it work. Okay, we got this piece to fit up pretty good. A little bit tricky just because it is, like I said, kind of offset. So I leaned it that way, had to notch it this way and then notch it that way. But you know, a little bit of patience and I'm starting to get the hang of this. This isn't anything crazy. I have no special skills that any of you don't have, you know, more than me. Pretty much let me show you what I did just for reference. Basically, you saw that I had the longer piece, so I knew that I need the angle, so I cut the angle. I leaned it where I wanted, and I make what's called a face line or a spine line. So I know that this is going to be the front of the tube, for example, so I'll mark the front of that tube and then I'll mark the backside where it's touching, and then I went and measured the gap that was there, and then I was able to basically draw from the spine line that amount, and then I know it has to angle that way, and then just went and kind of copied it. This one, once this one was found out, I kind of just trimmed this back till I knew it was in the area of where I needed it. And then I literally just took the marker here, lined it up, and just traced it. And then I just shaped it with the belt sander. So we're looking pretty good. So I'm gonna go ahead and tack this thing in really quick and we'll be good. That's not looking too bad. It's not gonna look perfectly symmetrical because if you haven't paid attention, this shock tower is bubblish and that one's not. So I think for symmetricality's sake, as much as we can, I at least got the tubes bent to the same angle and I measured them and put them on the same spot on the square stuff. So that's good enough, at least for me. Okay, so with those side pieces welded in, we're looking pretty solid. I know it's not perfectly symmetrical because the chassis is not symmetrical. So before anybody thinks that, you know, put yourself in the car's shoes, all right? It's not all perfect, as we all aren't. But anyway, yeah, I gotta build a jack point now because now that this structure is reinforced, I can actually jack the car up from there. But the issue is it's also way up here. So I know that I need to, I'm just gonna do a very simple U-shaped tube. I have some scrap metal I found, I've already pre-marked it and cut it. I know that height-wise, I need to stay around the height of the diff. So I measured the lower diff pickup point. It's about 9.5 inches. So I just gotta make sure that it's not any lower than around 9-ish inches from the ground, which even then, if it's a little low, it's not gonna be the end of the world. I just want it to kind of match in height. Nothing super crazy, because obviously the car has no suspension in the rear right now, so it's monster trucking. So I think that same diff height area should be a-okay once it's actually on the ground, loaded up. Always remember to zero out your gauge. I have to check it like every time I bend something because I always bump into it. And what I mean by that is basically get it to where your tube does not move anymore in the die, and then set that as your 0 point. There we go. All right, see where we need trim. Bada bing, make our cuts, and we will be good to go. All right, well, I think that'll do it for now, at least until we get the bumper on. Looks to be about same height-ish as the diff, but like I said, it's not critical, just a jack point. So yeah, hopefully you like that one. All right, we're looking pretty good. I just finished welding it up. Not too bad, honestly. It's just barely off center because I had to, because the bulkiness of the weld over on this side. I just, you know, excuses, but if you're looking down here, you can kind of see it just barely off center, kind of just skewed how you're looking at it. But again, this is going to be hidden behind the bumper anyway, so it really doesn't even matter. But yeah, so until I get the radiator and the fuel cell, I'm basically done with the rear end. Now, mind you, I still have to drill these tubes really quick and put a bolt through there, but I got to measure for a bolt, put it in my phone notes really quick, and then I'll swing by Ace on my way home one of these days and grab some hardware. But otherwise, you know, I think the tubed rear end is pretty much done for the time being. No, definitely looks the part. It looks very race car. And for being my first time ever doing this type of stuff, I'm actually pretty stoked on it. I'm quite proud of myself. And hopefully it gave some of you guys some ideas. So next up, moving on, I'm not gonna do it right this moment, so we'll probably come back tomorrow because I'm still waiting on parts for that guy. But yeah, so tomorrow I think I'll trim this stuff out, the webbing here, and then just run these little tubes here. I already started cleaning up the engine bay a little bit. Obviously you can see I pulled the whole harness out of there, so lots of little stuff to do. But once the front structure here is taken care of, then it's basically time for the cage. I do have all the material for the cage right there. And thankfully, you know, the interior, I will have to pull the dash, so I'll have to pull all this wiring and stuff while I'm at it. But yeah, that shouldn't be too hard. Tedious, but not too bad. But roll cage and chassis reinforcements are the next main thing I gotta do. But I am currently waiting on a response from Condor. If you don't know who Condor is, they do a lot of parts, aftermarket, and whatever for the BMW platforms and a few others. But they, very small chance, might be on board with working with us. So if that's the case, obviously I'd prefer to just buy their catalog of stuff. So I'm waiting on their response. So I don't want to jump the gun and buy any parts before that, because if we can get working together, I'd rather just wait and be a little patient. So in the meantime, roll cage it is. But that'll be for next video. Yeah, we'll see you in the morning when I have more energy, and we will get this front end done. So it's been a couple of days now. I've been super busy at the shop with client cars, which is good problem to have. I just haven't been able to work on this thing. But the good news is I should be able to order a radiator so we can fully finish this tube rear. I'll save that for another video though, just because I want to be able to get some content out. I don't really have anything else to do in the short term for the video though. Yeah, the rear end is done other than having a radiator. And
I want to say I'm 50-50 on the fuel cell. I've been committed to it the last like week, but the more research I'm doing and the more, you know, studying I'm doing, the more I'm just like, well, the stock cell is just good because it's low center of gravity. I'm not too sure how it would affect with having the fuel cell. Really, my main concern with having the fuel cell is just, other than money, because it's obviously not cheap to buy it and plumb it all up, even at my cost. But like, I didn't realize when I was doing all this how far back the radiator has to actually lean or, you know, sit. So I'm mostly just kind of worried about them interfering with each other. But at the same time, I don't think it'll be a problem. It's not like I'll be inside the fuel cell servicing it every day by any means, hopefully. But that's really my main concern. And then again, if I don't do it now, then I have to scuff stuff up, you know, and clean it up later. Whereas if I do it now, I can have it all done, ready to go, paint it, and then I don't have to touch it, and then we can leave it alone. And that leaves quite a lot of open space under the car for doing lines, hoses, whatever. So I don't know. If you have a rear mount fuel cell setup, let me know how you like it if you drift with it. Does it change the weight bias a lot? Does it change how the car swings? Like, I'm gonna post up on the E36 drift page and figure it out, but like, get more opinions. I just wish somebody local had this same setup that I'm ideally looking for, so I could really study it and just get like hands-on experience with it besides trial and error, because I just don't want to do it twice, you know? Granted, if I do the fuel cell now, I don't have to do it later, so I'm still only doing it once. But then if I stick with the stock tank now and say something happens to that stock tank, then I have to do the fuel cell later, and then that's kind of doing it twice. I don't know. I'm gonna wrap this video up though. On the short side, yeah, but you know what? We got some progress made. As you know, Young Static always said, progress is progress. And just so you guys know, I am working on some new shirts. I'm not wearing it right now, but I do have a new shirt that we actually handmade these ones. Like, we didn't have a third party make it, like Printful. So if you would like one, you know, I'll post a picture of it up right here. And if you would like one, I will take some pre-orders for it. And, you know, trying to get the tooling, heat press, and whatever the other printer is called. But we're gonna make some more, and we have some more designs that we're trying to work on. So if you enjoyed the video, let me know in the comments down below. If you wanna come out to a drift event, catch a lap, come find me. And anyways, guys, if you need fab work and all that stuff, you already know what to do. Hit me up on Instagram at Velocity Race Fab. If you need fuel, factory fuel, we got that. You need parts, hit me up. And do what you love, forget about the rest. Thanks for spending a few minutes out of your day here with me, and we'll see you in the next one. Peace out.